he fostered in me a love of literature. This whole time, I read War and Peace, which I think is one of the greatest achievements.
Just a light read.
Very difficult. Yeah. I don't think I would have done that before experiencing Tolkien, which is so dense and you have to. It's a minefield. You have to, read so much, and so you have to read certain books so many times in order.
You could take on anything now. You've conquered Tolkien. You could take.
I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say that.
Hello and welcome to the Movie Podcast. My name is Daniel. I am one of your hosts today, and this is part 2 in our 3-part interview series for The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Joining me on our quest today is Shahbaz.
Hello, and bonjour.
And Anthony.
Hello.
Anthony, how are you doing today?
I'm doing as well as an orc in heat.
That's not good. That's not good.
I'm going to take it as you mean an orc in like the summer sun.
Yeah,
that's what
I was thinking.
That's what you were thinking. Okay,
yes.
I wanted to make sure we were on the same like wavelength there, because there's a lot of different ways I think that we could really construe that one.
Yeah,
there's 100%. A lot of different ways. Shahbaz, how are you doing today? Hopefully better than an orc in the sun.
I don't even know. I don't. That's not good. I'm doing as well as an elf in the woods.
Okay, you know what?
Peaceful.
You guys are surprising me with these analogies today, and I appreciate it. But I'm also very confused. I'll be honest.
But
with you.
An elf in the woods is good. The woodland realms, and the elves are just floating around, and they're
there
all
you
like,
with the ethereal music. Yes, you are very correct.
A little bit of Enya.
A little bit of Enya. I don't think Enya was around during Middle Earth times. Man.
Oh man, she's Middle Earthian for sure.
Yeah, for
Middle
sure.
Earthian. She's eternal, eh? She's just always. She is and forever will be.
She is Middle Earth.
We're so lucky to be, continuing our interview series. This is the first time we've ever done an interview series for a show before, for a movie. This is the first on the Movie Podcast. And, for the Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, this is a series of many firsts for us. These are our first person in our junket interviews. This is our first Hollywood premiere that we attended to. So just a series of firsts, and I'm really enjoying the journey. And I think Shahbaz and Anthony, if I can speak for you guys for a second, I think you guys are also, enjoying the journey. Shay's shaking his head saying no.
Don't ever speak for me, okay?
I won't. I apologize. I'll never do it again.
No, it's all good. You're absolutely right. This has been a journey. It's felt like we've gone to Mordor to drop off a ring.
Yeah, it's been an unexpected journey.
Yes.
It's a Lord of the Rings joke for you.
We've been there and back again, as they would say. But no, this has been really, really wicked, very humbling, and the folks over at Prime Video are super, super awesome, and they've been so helpful. Had a great time just working with them to make sure we're representing this show, which isn't really a small show. This is a big deal, and we want to make sure that we're giving it the respect that the show deserves, and rightfully so. It deserves it.
It does definitely deserve that. Yeah, and like you said, we can't thank Prime Video Canada enough for affording us this opportunity to, attend this in-person junket and talk to the amazing cast and team behind the show. This is part 2 of our interview series, and I'm so excited that we get to continue on this journey. If you missed part 1, we had Patrick McKay and Lindsay Weber, the showrunner and executive producer of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, join us, in person. And of course, you could check that out on YouTube and all podcast services. We got to talk about the creation of the show, how it came to be, the marriage between physical sets and CG, and just, you could just tell that their love for the show is just overflowing. And we even got to talk about how the show changed them as creators, which I thought was really, really interesting, because, something of this magnitude does change you. I think about Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, the entire cast getting, these tattoos, like that forever changes you as creators. And it's so cool to see that it did change them. And I think when you see the show, it's all the better for it. Now, part two. Today, we are talking to some of the cast members of the show. So I'm so excited to welcome Cynthia Addai-Robinson, who plays Queen Regent Míriel on the show. We did not get to see her in action yet, but you do get to see her in the trailers. And she looks fantastic, and she's such a kind person. We got to speak with Robert Aramayo, who plays Elrond. We've seen Elrond in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy as an older, wiser elf, but now we get to see him as maybe he's only a couple thousand years old at this point, right? He's not in his elder elf years yet, but Robert plays him with such grace and also just such charm. And of course, we're also joined by Sara Zwangobani, who plays Marigold Brandyfoot, who is married to Largo Brandyfoot, who we also had on the show back in July, played by Dylan Smith. So if you want to go check that out, that's a great episode to catch up on as you're in the Rings of Power mindset. And if you want, last week on the podcast, we had episode 146 drop, where we spoke about our experience at the premiere, at the red carpet, being there with other Canadian press. It was a really, really cool time. So make sure you go check out that episode. There's lots to look forward to. And, part 3 is coming tomorrow, and it all leads to our big review on Wednesday. So we're going to unpack all of our conversation very, very soon. But without further ado, please welcome Cynthia, Robert, and Sara to the Movie Podcast.
Cynthia, Sarah, Robert, pleasure to meet you. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. And obviously, we've loved the first 2 episodes of the show. And it must be weird that you could finally talk about it now. We had the pleasure of speaking with one of your fellow castmates and fellow Canadian for us, Dylan. And Dylan's lovely. Oh, Dylan's very lovely. He was very keen on letting us know how much of a family you all became while shooting this. Was he just being like super Canadian about it? Was he being super nice, or did you guys actually become super close?
He's my husband.
Of course, yeah. You have to stand on his side. We hate each other.
But we did become super close. Yeah. And in our Half-Foot tribe, we became very close. We spent a lot of time together working on the scripts and working on the family. Yeah. And you will see that and have seen that on the screen. But I think also because we were all in New Zealand for so long and the borders were closed and there was COVID and everything, we became very, very close and took care of each other as a family. And with all its myriad things, not just, a love fest, but, the dynamics of a family. Yeah.
I mean, it did become one of those things where we had each other to really speak about the whole experience and just some of the material with, because we couldn't share with our family and friends. So, you come home from work and really it's this group that truly understands what that actually entails. Right. So I think in such a heightened situation, it galvanizes you. I mean, sometimes with groups it doesn't, but we were really fortunate that for us it really did.
How about for yourself?
Yeah, man, it was like a favorite.
No, same answer.
It's great. No, he's like a family, and I think everyone brought something to the family. Like I remember when Ben Walker got there, he was like, the first thing that he did was like institute this weekly get together where we all went round to his house and ate food and just hung out and sometimes didn't talk about work.
Right.
Very rarely, to be fair. It was, just a really great opportunity for us all to get together as a team and hang out.
I get this feeling that Dylan was maybe this really important part of the show where he was almost like the prankster. It feels like, was there a prankster amongst all you guys? Were you guys pulling pranks?
Well, I don't know about pranks, but Dylan certainly on set was just a character. He would be like the cheerleader of the Half-Foot clan, trying to buoy everyone up before we were doing a take. Yeah, oh gosh, all the extras. He'd be like, "Come on!" and I'd be like, "Sweetheart, you have to act in it. Just say have energy." Because he'd wear himself out. He's got boundless enthusiasm and energy.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, Sara, for yourself, Nori is such a high-spirited and adventurous Hardfoot. How did you and Largo just parent someone who is so curious about the outside world and while staying within the community?
Well, Largo and Marigold have slightly different ideas on how that should go. Largo is very much more encouraging of Nori's adventurous spirit than perhaps Marigold is. Mm-hmm. And that's because Marigold worries more about the dangers of the world and protecting the community. Right. And not that Largo doesn't, but he just loves Nori so much that I think, Marigold thinks, a little overindulgent. So So we have slightly different things there. But over the course of the season, you'll see how our parenting styles change.
Wow. Robert, for yourself, Elrond and Galadriel have a very deep friendship, but also Elrond is very bound by his duty.
Exactly.
What was it like working with Morphith to, trying to establish that relationship and work on that on screen as well?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a really difficult thing for him. He hasn't seen her for ages, which probably means a long time. If you know anything about elves, that means a long time. And so, she's coming back, and he's really excited to see her. But at the same time, there's things he's got to do, and he has a duty to his king and moving his nation forward in the way that Gil-galad sees fit.
For all of you, and Cynthia, I'd love for you to let us know, did you guys take anything from set? There's wonderful props on the show. Did you guys take anything home with you?
Sure are. I wish I could have. I would have loved to. Certainly within Numenor, we have this incredible set and world that's meant to represent, prosperity. So, from the costumes and the jewelry to just the elements that were part of the world. I remember there's a set that was sort of like the interior of my chambers and just sort of like walking around, and there's scrolls and there's all these, it literally was like a toy store. But I think that, if I took anything, I know this is like kind of a hokey answer, but I took the experience. I took the experience from set and my memories and just, it truly was a special time. And now to get to be at this place where we're ready to show everyone what we were up to, working away in Middle Earth, where we're excited and just really proud to share.
Definitely. You guys have to top that now. So please, what did you guys take from set? Robert, ears at least? Did you get ears on?
No. I did not, no. I would love to just take all of that. Kate Hawley is an incredible talent. And she's so collaborative. And so the costumes that you wore, every detail is discussed and worked on and collaborated with you. Yeah. She really is incredible. And it was inspiring to work with Kate and see what she created.
Definitely. Amazing. There's so much, obviously, when you're making this character that you have to imprint yourself on there. Is there anything that you took away from your character that now you've applied to your own life?
He fostered in me a love of literature. This whole time, I read War and Peace, which I think is one of the greatest achievements.
Just a late read.
Very difficult. Yeah. I don't think I would have done that before experiencing Tolkien, which is so dense and you have to. It's a minefield. You have to, read so much, and so you have to read certain books so many times in order.
You could take on anything now. You've conquered Tolkien. You could take.
I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say that.
You got things that's coming up, so you yourself time to work. Sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say what has been a lovely gift, and I think all of us have had the gift of these characters to sort of bring ourselves to, but the characters are also bringing themselves to us. I've had this feeling of wanting to lean a little bit more into my strength. I don't always feel like a strong person. And it's always interesting when someone will tell you that the perception that they have of you, that you're just kind of a bit surprised, or it's like, oh, really? And to play a queen, it's very interesting that people sort of maybe behave differently once you have all the gear on. But my street clothes, I just feel like myself. But there's been something nice to consider when it's, maybe I should give the people what they want. What if I lean into this? There's nothing wrong with leaning into that idea that, maybe I've got a sort of a regalness or something that I like the idea that I can sort of lean into that and sort of give that gift to myself.
I think for me too, a Marigold's strength is something that I've taken from her or taken away from her. And also I think Marigold I'm a parent too, and I think playing Marigold has made me think a lot more about that, in terms of when is a parent's desires more about themselves than what their child really needs or what their child really wants, and where they conflict and where maybe they can come together and where maybe they morph and change. And I've thought about that a lot more since playing her. My daughter's still quite young, so I'm not quite where Marigold and Nori are, but that will come. So, it's almost like preparation.
Right. This has all been training this whole time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, the show is so grand, obviously, like we said, and we had the opportunity to watch the first 2 episodes, and they are phenomenal. And I was just curious for you guys, is there a single word that you could use to describe it to somebody, or at least the experience of this first season of making the show?
It's an adventure.
Yeah,
I think.
Moving. Magic.
I love it. It's all different answers from the
yes.
podcast too, which is great. So everyone's
The posters too.
Yeah. Everyone's thinking something different from it. To all of you, thank you so much for your time. We are so excited for the show to be coming out, as I'm sure you are as well after all these years. So thank you for your time today, and all the best with the rest of the release and the press that you're doing.
Thank you very much. Lovely to chat to you.
You too.
And welcome back from our in-person interview. I think, Shay, you mentioned this in our episode last week, just how excited people were when they found out that, oh, you guys spoke with Dylan Smith. Dylan is the only Canadian on the show. The Canadian press was a small team that was there, and I think anytime somebody finds out you're Canadian, there's like this like cheering that happens. Like all of a sudden you have a whole team of cheerleaders there with you, especially for Sara, who is married to Dylan Smith in the show. Everyone is just so excited, and I was just Shay, for yourself, what did that feel like, kind of going into that environment and seeing like, hey, like people really like us and they really like Dylan. It was really cool.
I think when the interviews initially finished, there was this relief and like, okay, I think we did a great job. I think that went well. They seemed to like us. It wasn't really until after where we kind of bumped into them at the events where they were like, hey, you guys are so nice. You guys are so awesome. And we're just standing there like, are they talking to us? Like, yeah, you talked about Dylan. Dylan is awesome. And you guys were so courteous and so kind. And we're like, oh, okay, so you remember us and we weren't just like blips on your day. So
right.
That's when it kind of just, it really settled in that what we did was really awesome. Again, doing it was great, but then it was just that after, like, you kind of had this imposter syndrome a little bit.
For sure.
Immediately resolved once we kind of got that validation, I guess you could say. Yeah.
You get that connection, and that connection that they actually remember you. I think that makes all the difference, right? Anthony, how are you feeling now? This is our first time with the cast. You were in mission control, producing the interview for us, and just kind of overseeing everything. What did it look like from your end, and post interview now? How are you feeling? And part 2 of our interview series.
When you are recognized after the fact, I think when you leave an impactful mark on your talent, on the talent that you interviewed, I think it says a lot about your work ethic and really what you want to do, what we wanted to do with the show. And it's just amazing. Like, this was our first, live in-set interview. So we wanted to make sure that we were leaving our mark, that movie podcast mark, on these creators and these actors and actresses, so they recognize us in the future. And I think we did an amazing job doing that. This our first outing. So kudos to both you guys and to the whole team. And I can't thank Amazon or Prime Video enough for giving us the opportunity to do this. But being in the mission control, it's just another day in mission control. Just missioning and controlling, but it's amazing how you see things happen and you're just part of that world. And I look forward to being part of more of those experiences.
There's lots to look forward to. Like we said, this is part 2. We would love for you to go check out the first part of our interview series with Patrick and Lindsay, and go catch up on last week's episode of the Movie Podcast and check out our interview with Dylan Smith. The Lord of the Rings of Power is going to be a massive show. There's no denying that. Like we said before, we throw around the terms like, most expensive show ever made, and it's by Prime Video. And like, once you see the labor of love that is put into the show, it's special. And I think it's really going to leave its mark, as we've been saying, not just on us, but I think on the world when the show does come out, and it is phenomenal. So please check out all of the incredible episodes that we've had leading up to this, and of course make sure you tune in tomorrow for part 3. And our part 3 is our final part of our interview series, and we talk to some more of the cast. Who are we talking to? Well, you're going to have to see tomorrow, because you're not going to want to miss it. And I think Shay alluded to it in part 1 that there's an event that happens in the next part of this series that is absolutely hilarious, and we are going to be sharing and making videos of it, I think, till the day we die, because it made us laugh so hard. And I think that's what being in person affords you, is these opportunities to just have fun, let a bit loose, and actually connect eye to eye with who you're talking to, and have these moments. It's really, really fun, and we love doing it. So, and I just want to say again, thank you to Prime Video Canada, thank you to Sara, thank you so much to Cynthia, and thank you so much to Robert for their time and for hanging out with us on the show today. And we'd love to talk to you guys again, so hopefully down the road, season 2, we'll be able to do that. That was This Time with the Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.